All right, so today, this is, what episode am I on? 18, I think. So this is episode 18 of the Bearzi podcast. And today we have a fellow content creator and psychedelic explorer, Vergo. Oh, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Feeling really good. How are you?
I'm gonna be better in maybe half an hour. So right before we started this podcast, I took a 2-gram dose of mushrooms.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
So
No way.
I had some left over in my stash. I had a little stash right here, and
Yeah.
there was about 2 grams left over. And I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do a pod with the guy who calls himself Psychedelic Actualization, I'm like, I better do something. So I took it about.
That came really surprising.
So I took it about, let's see, 20 minutes ago. So
Uh-huh.
from my past experiences, it usually hits, I don't know, like 30 minutes to an hour. Was that what you would say?
Yeah. For me also, 30-minute mark until 1 hour sometimes. But 2 grams is quite a bit.
It might be like 1.5. It kind of looked somewhere between 1.5, 2 grams. It was like one of the capsules, and then it was 3 stems and 3 caps, but they were smallish. So I don't know. It was something like that. But this was the main reason why I kind of wanted to talk to you and have you on the podcast, because
Yeah.
I don't know if you found me or I found you, but we somehow stumbled upon each other on YouTube, and right away I saw the title of your YouTube channel name, and it was Psychedelic Actualization. And I have been, I wouldn't say a firm believer, but I have been someone that supports like the use of psychedelics. When it comes mostly to creativity, mental health, and spirituality, and all that type of stuff. And I was like, yo, this guy has the best YouTube name that I've ever had. And I don't know. I just had to talk to you.
Yeah.
But do you
I thought
remember?
about it.
Do you remember if I
Yeah,
found you or you found me?
I think I found you through the comment section of Mind Now, Winnie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I saw a comment from you over there, and then I clicked on your channel and saw your video, like how to make 2021 the best year of my life, or something like that. And it really resonated, like your content creation and your video style, and what you're saying about personal development. So it's amazing
Yeah,
to talk to you now.
and
Yeah.
it's also like I had Winnie on the podcast before, and he's a fellow content creator. And
Yeah.
wait, are you from Germany?
I'm from Germany. Yeah.
Okay, so Winnie's from Germany too, I think. Yeah, I think he's from
Yeah.
Germany also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always had this idea. I don't think I've told this to you before, but I've always had this idea where I feel like, especially in the YouTube content creation community, it's good to support each other. And what I find is that whenever someone starts like a podcast, for example, right, their intention behind starting a podcast is for their own selfish reasons. They want to grow their own platform. They want to grow their own podcast. So they're always looking for other content creators that have like, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, so that it can benefit them, right? Whereas I'm of the opinion that I want to talk to people that are interesting, regardless of what type of subjects they like to talk about, and regardless of what their subscription size is, right? I don't care if you have 5 subscribers or if you have 5 million. Like, I don't give a shit, right? I'm more interested in just like supporting fellow creators within our space. And I just wish that more people did this, because I've reached out to other people, like to be on their podcast, because I'm always interested in talking to people, right? And they'll see my channel and it's like 1,000 subscribers, and they'll be like, oh, your channel is not big enough, you don't have big enough of a reach. And I'm just like, I don't know if you feel the same way or not.
Yeah, that's a great mindset. I really like that, because for me it's also just about sharing our worldview and just talking about life, and just sharing valuable knowledge with the world through communication, through a podcast, through a video. So that is really my main point why I'm doing it. This is actually my first podcast that I'm doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm honored, bro. I'm honored.
And it's also the YouTube channel Psychedelic Actualization. I thought about it for a long time, like with the channel name and starting a YouTube channel on English, because I am a video creator for like 7, 8, 9 years now, or 10 years even. But with a friend of mine, we were kids and we were just playing around with the camera. So we started a YouTube channel 10 years ago, and just with some silly comedy content. And it developed over the years. And we're still doing it today. So I have 3 YouTube channels running, 2 German channels, and then now for like 4 months now, the English channel about psychedelics and spirituality. Yeah.
So you are a legitimate content creator, not just the psychedelic stuff, but also a channel in German too. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's a bit more advanced with video editing and stuff, but also just some outdoor comedy content.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's also like
it developed over the years. Yeah.
It's good too to like create content that's enjoyable too, right? Like if you have like a channel you're just kind of like having fun with, and that makes content creation even better, you know, when you love and you enjoy what you do, which is kind of like this podcast, right? Like this podcast, I have no expectation for growth, nor do I have any business model for it. It's just something I do because it's fun and I enjoy it, right? And especially with the lockdown, like we can't see anyone. You can't go out. You can't socialize. You can't do anything. Well, I don't know how it is in Germany, but here in Canada, we're in lockdown again starting this month, right? And it's just like it's so depressing and demoralizing to not be able to go out and communicate with other human beings. And this is perfect for me, right? But again, there is no monetary expectation. It's all for fun and enjoyment. And I feel like some people, you know, they get into YouTube for the wrong reasons, right? And they want to do it for like money or fame or some weird excess, you know, whatever reason it is, right? But I feel like, again, like if you have like a comedy channel on the side, if you have another channel you do in German and you enjoy it, right? Then that's like, it makes the whole process that much more fun, right?
And also, I think in the long run, you can't really be successful with a YouTube channel when you are not enjoying the things that you're sharing, when you're not passionate about them. Because what I found with YouTube, it's a long-term game, like long-term consistency. Publishing a video every week or every month, it's a lot of work. Like you have to be passionate about what you're sharing. When you're just doing it for the money or for the fame, I found for myself it's strong enough. Why? Not a good reason to continue doing it, because then it gets exhausting and you get kind of depressed, or if you don't see the results that you're expecting.
Yeah, exactly. It's like those expectations, right? People have an expectation for growth when they get into it, right? And that's the complete wrong and opposite mindset that you should have, right? You should do it because you enjoy it, right? And that is what will keep you going in the long run. But just like how you said, you know, like YouTube is a long-term game, right? And that's why you see so many channels, they start off and then after 7, 8, 9 months, they just die out because, you know, they didn't get that type of growth that they wanted, right? And you know, it's unfortunate, right? It's something that I struggled with early on. Like my YouTube channel, it was created in 2007, like the channel that I post on now.
Wow.
So I've had like basketball videos, video games, whatever, let's plays. I've had like comedy content, vlogs. I've had all kinds of random stuff, right? But nothing ever really stuck, and I was never able to commit to it long term, and that was a huge problem, right? I would start a new niche, Then again, half a year in, I'd quit because you're getting like 2 views, no one's watching your stuff, and and it's demoralizing, right? But I guess that's why you need to create a good YouTube channel name like Psychedelic Actualization.
Yeah, because it's just clear like what it's about. On my German YouTube channel, it's also difficult to grow the channel because the channel name is Takami. Like it says nothing. It's a brand name, Takami. Yeah.
Does it have a meaning? What does that mean, Takami?
Yeah, we just sat down and thought about our channel name, and we were into Japanese culture and anime at that time, and so we just took some Japanese words and mashed them together. Like I think it's kami, like God in Japanese, and taksho or something like that. That means bamboo. So bamboo God. Doesn't have a really meaning, but it's just combined, and Takami sounds cool, so we went with it.
Yeah, that's all right. As long as like you enjoy it or whatever. But hey, I wanted to ask you something. So I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday you posted a new video?
Yeah.
That you're planning on doing an 8-gram magic mushroom trip. So did that happen? Did you go through with that yesterday?
It already happened, but it was like a month ago.
Oh.
So okay. I already recorded some videos because now at this time I haven't recorded a video for 2 months now because I'm busy with a new job, and I kind of knew that this time could happen, so I just recorded a bunch of videos back then, and that 8-gram mushroom journey already happened. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see. So like when I watch your stuff, I have no inside knowledge, so I'm coming from the perspective of tomorrow he's gonna do an 8-gram mushroom trip, and I was like so excited, right? Because like I would be like, oh, so how did it go? Like how was it? But so was that your highest dosage that you've gone? 8?
Yeah, with mushrooms, 8 grams is the highest dose I've done. I've done 2 5-gram journeys before that, but I didn't really got anything out of them because the first 5-gram mushroom journey was my first mushroom journey ever, so that was kind of overwhelming and confusing as well. And I was like 16 or 17.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, that 5 grams was your first dose, first trip.
Yeah, because I've researched a lot about it, but I listened to Terence McKenna a lot at that time, and he was like 5 grams in silent darkness, and I was like, yeah, 5 grams in silent darkness.
Oh man!
But you learn from your mistakes.
I don't think I'd be brave enough to do 5 grams. So don't you experience like ego death at that type of dose?
Yeah, you can. I think there are different types of ego death and different intensities of ego death, but that first 5-gram journey definitely was some kind of ego death, because I was really scared because I thought I would die and I wasn't prepared. Yeah, but nowadays after some more exploration, I can kind of ease more into the experience and surrender to it and go with it and let go of everything. Yeah.
Wow, so you never even got into like microdosing or going with like the standard dose. Wait, did you like backtrack from 5 and did you try 2 grams? How was that?
Definitely. After my 5-gram journey, I just didn't touch mushrooms for a year or so. And then I got back into it slowly but surely. Like with 3 grams, I got back into it, and then 4 grams was a very intense, amazing journey, and I dabbled around 2 to 4 grams for a bit after I took another 5-gram journey, and that journey also was kind of weird and interesting because I took the 5 grams, just waited for the facts to come on, and then something happened, but not really intense, no valuable insights, no visuals, and then I just vomited like 5 times or 6 times, and it was really nasty. It was really, really, also really dark and difficult atmosphere to go through that process. And then I thought, okay, now I'm finished with vomiting. Now I can lay down and enjoy the effects, but the trip was over, like after 3 hours or so. So that was also really weird. Yeah, and after that, also did some small dose journeys. Small dose,
small
like 2, 3. I have to say, I think I have a high tolerance to psychedelics, because also they're affecting me kind of different to a lot of people. I don't experience a lot of visuals on psychedelics, all just more on the inside with the feeling of it. Yeah, so that is kind of interesting. And then I thought about doing another 5-gram journey, but I thought like, okay, I can go all in. I can do 8 grams, like put 3 more on top of it and see what happens.
Oh man, you just decided to risk it all and just go for it, huh?
Yeah.
Because I'm actually complete opposite from you. I'm very sensitive to psychedelics and pretty much all drugs, really. Even like alcohol. Like I've always been someone that can't handle alcohol very well. I get, I have like the Asian gene or a little bit of it, where I just like, it's like an allergy almost, and you just like kind of get sick really fast, or you get drunk really fast. And then have the same problem with like marijuana, and edibles. It's just, for whatever reason, my body is extremely sensitive to these type of things, right? And the alcohol was a huge hint early on. So when it came to psychedelics, the first dose that I tried was 500 milligrams, which is like nothing, right? Like I was even so scared to try 500 milligrams in the beginning, right? Because I was like, oh, should I just try like 200 or something? And when you take 500, you barely notice anything at all, right? So I've got into psychedelics the complete opposite way that you did. Whereas I kind of knew my limits as a human being, and it's not that I don't enjoy the experiences. It's just that I've had a couple really bad trips where that feeling of just being out of control and not being able to control your surroundings and just feel like you're just weak and vulnerable, and you have no control over the situation. It's hard because I'm like trying to be a responsible adult. I have a wife, I have a daughter, so I'm a parent, right? I'm not like an 18-year-old kid anymore that doesn't have responsibilities. So my use or my interest in psychedelics is mainly more towards a microdosing, where I've been microdosing with I don't know if it's Golden Teacher, if that's the mushroom. I think that's what I've been using. But I found that in the 500 milligram to 1 gram range, it's helped me so much with my writing. And like you see my YouTube videos, a lot of those videos, it comes from my writing that I do first thing in the morning. Every morning I'll write in like Google Docs for like an hour or two. And I've had periods where I'd get like writer's block, and I don't know what, I get kind of stuck and I don't know what to talk about. And so that's why I kind of tried and shifted towards psychedelics. And the mushrooms, it kind of just like, it opens your mind just a little bit to the possibilities. I'm not taking a huge dosage, right? When you're taking just 1 gram, you only get some of the effects, right? But in terms of like my overall creativity, like there have been all positive benefits and not a single negative thing that I could even think of, right? And it's been like such a huge helpful tool for me that's helped my creative process, that's helped my writing and helped me improve as a content creator, right? And I just hate this horrible stigma that society has with mushrooms as, you know, like a drug, so it's a bad thing, right? And it's like, if you're doing drugs, then you're throwing your life away. But like in reality, I'm getting all the benefit from it. There's no negatives whatsoever. There's no hangover, right? There's no like stupidity or loss of motor skills, or I can, you know, I can't like draw. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing negative that affects my life, or there's no addiction at all, right? And all the benefits and all the things that I learned from, you know, taking mushrooms is that it's 100% positive. And I just hate this, again, the stigma that society has placed on it, where it's like a bad thing to do and only losers do it, right? And it's
Right.
you know, it's unfortunate, right? So
I also don't like to call it a drug, because it really isn't, because it's kind of a planned teacher for me, and it's a tool, like you said. It's a tool for whatever you want to use it for. Of course, tools can be dangerous sometimes. Fire can be dangerous, electricity can be dangerous, but if you use it responsibly, you can achieve amazing things for it. They work like a catalyst for growth, or for whatever you want to use it for.
yeah,
And also,
exactly.
I also wanted to try microdosing, but I haven't yet, actually. That's on my list to try very soon. Yeah, but for me, psychedelics also are about, pushing the boundary. For myself, I want to explore part of this reality and my consciousness, and parts of myself that are there but I haven't seen before. So I want to explore as much of it as I can, but also responsibly. So that I don't like lose my mind or go crazy, because it kind of can happen. But I think I'm at the very beginning of my journey to explore the things, to explore myself. So I don't know much, even though I had like 30 LSD trips, 20 mushroom trips, 30 DMT trips. Like, it's
Jesus.
still the beginning for me.
God.
Yeah.
Holy shit. 30 LSD trips too? Bro.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. So let's get into this a little bit. So if you had to choose, okay, no, hold on. Let me back up. So you've also done ayahuasca too, because I've seen your video about ayahuasca. So in terms of like LSD, mushrooms, ayahuasca, and something like marijuana, do you have like a ranking, or do you have one that you would prefer over all the rest?
That's really difficult, because you can use them for different things. Like, I don't know if I have a ranking for them. I think at the beginning would be DMT, but just, I don't know which form, like NN-DMT or 5-MeO-DMT or ayahuasca. So DMT is quite amazing. But also mushrooms are very, very similar from the molecular structure to DMT. It's just like one little different strain of it. So the molecule of psilocybin or of psilocin is very, very similar to DMT. It's also just like eatable DMT, but it's a totally different effect. And LSD is also quite amazing. I kind of go with it, like when I feel I have to work on something, or I want to explore something, then I think about what it is and what tool do I want to use. So for healing, for example, I think ayahuasca is, for me at least, very, very amazing thing to do when I search for that deep healing of my heart and of my soul, and to connect to the earth. But with DMT, it's like totally different when I vaporize it. So there, in this experience, I don't quite know what to get out of it, but it's that flash of astonishment and of amazement, of wow, how much there is to explore, like how much is possible, how deep this the structure of reality and of our consciousness goes. So I don't know if I can rank them, but I really don't know.
I think
I think I can.
I think I have a very crude way of looking at drugs and psychedelics, and I know what you mean, how you don't classify it as a drug, but for me, I've only tried marijuana, mushrooms, and like alcohol, and like that's it. So that's all my experience. So when I mean ranking, I'd rank like alcohol is the worst, like at the very very bottom in terms of benefits, and then marijuana, you know, it is way up there. Like there's a lot of benefits out from it, so I'd rank that second, and then I'd put mushrooms a little bit higher than marijuana. Like if I had to rank those drugs or whatever, right? But I've never had any experiences with DMT or ayahuasca or any of that stuff, like the 5-MeO. That's like from toads or something, isn't it? Like from frogs or toads or some shit.
You can get it from the toad, yeah, but you can also get the pure 5-MeO DMT. But that's pretty difficult to organize.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I haven't tried that. I have tried 5-MeO DMT. I have tried the toad once in my life. So that was also quite interesting. But I think they overdosed it a little bit. So it was just like a blackout.
Oh no!
I vaporized it and then I was just gone. But also just the effect of coming back after 10 or 15 minutes and the afterglow, the 30 or 60 minutes after this experience was still so intense and valuable and so amazing, because I came back from that space. I don't remember what happened there. It was just no experience at all for me. But I came back and it was just like I opened my eyes and it felt so peaceful because it was completely silent. And I didn't even remember that I was a human. So the process of remembering began. Like my first thought was, where am I? Like, am I in a video game or something like that? So because it all looked so different, but also so real. Like, and then I remembered, this is the universe, okay, and this is the Earth, okay, and I'm a human. And so the structure of my ego and of my reality just came back, but very, very slowly. Also, language wasn't the thing, because people were talking all over the place, and it was just gibberish. Like, I couldn't understand a word. And I would watch that, and it was just so amazing. And also from that experience, from the 5-MeO experience, I still benefit from it today. Like, just to remember this experience and the peace I felt. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm kind of losing it here right now. those leaves on that tree behind you, they look like hearts that are beating, man. Oh man, I'm okay, it's hitting me now.
Yeah, I wanted 30 minutes, 15 minutes in. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, you got the wrong background for me to look at right now. It's
I think it's exactly the right background.
It's the right background.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm okay. I wanted to ask you also about ayahuasca, as this is something that I guess has become relatively new when it comes to normal people, right? Because no one's ever really heard about ayahuasca before, and even myself, I didn't even know how to spell it. Like when I commented on your video. But when you do ayahuasca, does it have to be this like trip where you go into like the rainforest in a different country with a shaman and you gotta like book a getaway? Like is that required to do a proper ayahuasca ceremony? Like how does it work?
I don't know. I'm not that experienced with ayahuasca. I've just had 2 ayahuasca ceremonies here in Europe with some facilitators. So I don't know how it feels like when I'm doing it in the rainforest with a true shaman. I wanted to go to Peru last year, but lockdown. Yeah, so I want to explore how it is. So I don't quite know, but I think it isn't required. You can do it in the rainforest with a true shaman and experience what it is like there in that setting. You can do it with a facilitator here in Europe or wherever you are, and find someone that can kind of guide you through that journey or be there for you if you need someone. Or you can do it alone. Like, nothing is really required to go into that experience, because I think all these experiences you can do them alone, and you can just go in a forest, brew your own ayahuasca brew, and experience it that way. It can be valuable that way. It can be valuable with a shaman or with a group. So it's all these things are different experiences, but nothing is really required from my point of view. So yeah, I'm not that experienced. As I said, I've done 2 ayahuasca retreats, one time 3 nights and the other time 2 nights, and it was just perfect, just beautiful how it was. But I really want to explore ayahuasca more. I wanted to book a 30-day ayahuasca retreat with a shaman, and that is something I want to do in the next couple of years. And yeah, it will be intense. I think I'm kind of scared to do it, because it's just yeah, my ego was struggling the last 2 nights I did it. Just very intense. And yeah, also with ayahuasca, I don't want to say that everybody can do it on their own and experience it for themselves alone in the forest, because it can get kind of intense, really intense. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can get into some really dark places. I've spoken to a couple of people at the retreats. Like, one guy did it alone a couple of times in his shower, and he was just on the brink of killing himself there. So he just became a facilitator, because he thought it would be better to guide people through these journeys, because my experience is like this thing can get really deep and dark, and it's kind of dangerous. So you have to be careful with what you're doing, and you have to be responsible and take responsibility for yourself and your actions, and yeah, then explore the things in whatever way you like or you prefer.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, like, here, correct me if I'm wrong. So my understanding of ayahuasca is like the shaman has like a ceremony, and they brew like the tea, and then you drink the tea, and it forces your body to purge like everything out of you, right? Which is kind of the whole point of the retreat and why you got to stay there for a couple nights, and then you get the whole psychedelic experience after the purge, and then the next day you go back to your group of people, and you talk about kind of what you saw. Is that how it? Do I have that right? Is that how it goes down?
Yeah, that's how it can go down. So it depends on the group, on the facilitator, on the shaman, and also on the individual. Like, not every individual will purge in an ayahuasca ceremony. It doesn't have to be that way.
Okay.
But it's like really common to purge, and it's also a different kind of purge, because on my last retreat, in the first night I drank the tea, and after an hour or so I didn't felt anything, and then I drank another cup of the tea. It was so nasty that I just had to purge, because it was so nasty. So it didn't really got into my stomach, and it really didn't begin to work. But I just purged because it was so nasty. And then the other night, the second night, I drank 2 cups or 3 cups, and it stayed in my stomach. And like, the purge came after 2 hours, So then it really began to work, and that was a different kind of purge, like that spiritual purge, and you kind of feel when it's from the spirit of the ayahuasca that you have to purge, and it's amazing.
Wow,
and it can
crazy.
be difficult and intense.
Oh man. See, I don't know if I'm brave enough to ever do something like that. nor do I have the time to, like, you know, that's my problem, is I don't have time to do these type of things, right? And that's why, like, the mushrooms kind of works the best for me. I'm getting a crazy body high right now, like crazy sensation, like in my chest, and your background is killing me over here, bro. But oh man, have you ever had an experience where you've met like a god or had a conversation with a being like beyond this world? Like, have you ever had any experiences like that?
Kind of, but not really specifically. Not on LSD, on mushrooms also not really, but on the 8-gram mushroom journey, I met my first entity, as I would call it.
Whoa.
Also on DMT, I didn't experience any entities or some other spirits. On ayahuasca, it's like that spirit of Mother Ayahuasca, or of the ayahuasca itself. It's a kind of spirit that guides me through this journey. Yeah, but no real encounters with a god or with an entity or something like that. But on that 8-gram journey, yeah, I met my first entity, and
wow.
it wasn't a nice meeting.
Oh no, it wasn't?
No, it wasn't, to my surprise. Yeah, it was like the first 2 or 3 hours of the trip were just beautiful. Like, so many amazing insights about reality, about my life, about what I can do. It was just perfect, amazing visuals, and everything was really amazing on this trip. And then after 2 hours, I thought it was over. Like, it could have been over, and it was perfect the way it was. And then I thought, okay, I'm only 2 hours into the trip. What can happen now? And then it was, it's hard to describe. I will post the trip report in a couple of weeks on my channel, but it's really hard to describe. It was like the visuals stopped, and it felt like an UFO kind of landed in the room. and that mushroom lord entity was just demonstrating its power to me, and I couldn't do anything for the next 4 or 5 hours, and just sit there and with the knees on the ground, head on the ground, and just pray to whatever, like, that I can get through this, because it was just so intense. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was my first encounter with a kind of entity or something like that.
Yeah. Did you go ahead?
Yeah, that kind of word, like a god, did I met a god, is also kind of difficult to describe, because on LSD or on DMT, it kind of felt divine, but I felt this divinity in myself. Like, it wasn't something outside of myself. So it was just that divine nature of reality within me. So I realized that, and that was kind of an experience of God realization, I would call it. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's yeah, because also the thing too with, like, experiencing a deity or a god or some type of being, right? Because you kind of don't really know, and it's hard to put into words like what exactly you saw or what exactly you felt, because I've had one trip that was extremely crazy, and I think it was like three edibles, like all within like 10 minutes. Like it was hardcore, and I had like an out of body experience where I don't know how to. There's no words in the English language to describe how you felt, right? It's so difficult to put into words, and it almost felt like I was flying through the universe outside of my body, and I saw Neptune, and I saw Pluto and Uranus and Saturn, and I was just like, dude, it was wild. And at the same, yeah, and then I had some of the ego death stuff too. And when you did your 8 grams, were you hallucinating, and did you have a sitter?
Yeah, I did have a sitter, but in another room, because I just really like to journey alone. Almost all of my journeys I've done alone.
But they're there if you need them.
Yeah, but with the 8 grams, I thought it would be nice to have someone there, just in case. You never know what can happen. So I didn't need to reach out to her, but she was there in another room doing her thing, and I was in the living room just doing my thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, because I didn't even know about like the term a sitter, right? Like as you go up in the dosages, and I was like, wow, really? You need a sitter? And then I had someone explain it to me that you get to a point where you can't distinguish the difference between reality and your hallucinations, right? They're the same to you. The experience is exactly the same, and you can't determine, what is happening in real time and what is happening inside of you. And this guy was saying, like, especially when you get over, I think it's called the heroic doses, 5 grams or higher, that you have to have a sitter, or it's extremely recommended that you do have one. And I was like, man, do you hallucinate like that much, where you need a person, like a baby, like the word sitter, it comes from the word babysitter, right? And I'm like, holy shit, you actually need a babysitter if you eat 5 grams of mushrooms or higher, or like whatever the number is, right? And I find that to be so interesting, but also, would that affect your trip at all, because you know that there's another person there? And I know, like you said, you like to do it alone, right? Like, does
it can.
It can, if the person is there, it can affect the experience.
Yeah, just like it also depends on the individual, like how you feel when, and also what kind of person is there. If they're a person you can trust, you've known them for years, and they also know about psychedelics and how this realm works, because when you have someone there that doesn't know anything about this space, and you come to them and say that, like, I'm dying, and they also don't know what to do, and they call the ambulance or something like that. Yeah, it can go either way, but just to have a trusted sitter that knows about this space, it can be helpful if you feel more safe doing it that way. But also, there's nothing standing in your way. It's just going all this road alone.
Wow.
Like it's always a journey from the alone to the alone. Like, was a quote from Kalindi E, and he had that quote from someone else. Kalindi E, also crazy dude. Do you know about him?
No.
He died last year, I think. So that's kind of sad. But he also talked about the mushroom experience, especially the ultra high doses, like 30 to 50 dried grams.
Oh man.
And that sounds kind of interesting and crazy. Yeah, just like thinking about it, like 5 times 8 grams.
I can't go there, bro. I can't go that deep. That's so, like 50 grams. Like, will you come back from that? Like, how does that even work?
I think you can. He kind of proved it.
Shit, that is
crazy. But you experience some crazy shit. As you said, it's just like you can't distinguish between this reality and your hallucination, because it's just an experience that you're having.
Wow.
And also with some other substances, you got to be careful. I also had my first salvia experience a couple of months ago, Do you
What is
know
that?
about Salvia divinorum?
Zavia? No, what is
Salvia.
that?
Salvia divinorum. It's also crazy psychedelic.
Oh god.
That is working on different receptors in your brain. Like with DMT or something like that, it's common that you're just experiencing this crazy stuff and you're just lying there and you don't move. But with salvia, it can get just as intense and even more crazy and just weird. And you also are able to move around. Like your whole reality can just shift into another reality, and you can still move around and think you're in this different universe or something like that. And yeah, it's an interesting substance, but it's really you got to be really careful with it, because it can get really intense and you can experience insanity.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I want to explore it further. Just did it once, just a little dose of the 10x extract, and I just experienced that I became a picture. Just people experience becoming objects. That is a common experience of the Savia experience. Like
Savia.
One guy became, his experience was like he was orange, or the other guy became a lighter, or the other guy became the letter S. And it feels like you are it forever, and you have to. And I experienced like becoming a picture on the screen, and I had to let go of being human, and that was difficult. It was not easy to just completely let go of being human, but just being a picture on the screen forever. So, with that topic and with some substances, it's good that you have a trip sitter there. It's really recommended.
Yeah, man, I don't know, like. I don't know if I'd want to do that. You become an object? Like, what if you become toilet paper, bro?
You can! I don't know. I don't know how it works or what it will show you. Also, you can experience some other crazy shit. Like, but it's interesting.
Oh no!
Really interesting, and it's also a dysphoric experience. Like, it's not like mushrooms or LSD. They're often euphoric experiences. Yeah. But with Savia, it's oftentimes a dysphoric experience. Like, it's not comfortable to go into it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Dysphoric. Yeah. Wow, I've never really heard that word used before. Dysphoric experience.
Yeah, me also. Not until I researched about Savia a little bit more.
How did the Savia come? Is it like in a pill form or like a drink? Like what does it look like?
It's just like a powder, like weed. It's just a plant.
Oh, okay, so plant.
You can chew the leaves of the plant. That's how the indigenous folks in Mexico do it. You can chew the leaves and then spit them out and just go that way. That way, the experience will come on a little bit lighter and a little bit slower, and the trip will be a little bit longer. And then you can smoke the extract of the leaves. And that's what I did. You can go 10x extract, 20, 30, even 80x extracts are out there. And you can just smoke. I just smoked, smoke it in a pipe. I just smoked 0.1 grams of it. Just two hits of it in a pipe, and it just hit me like a train.
Wow.
It came from the left. That was kind of interesting. I've never experienced that a substance can come from one direction. Like when you experience the mushroom or ayahuasca or weed, it's just like coming from within, and the experience is unfolding. But with Savia, I just took the first hit, and I was like experiencing that something was coming from the left. That was so really interesting. Then I took the second hit, and it just washed me away from the left over to whatever happened.
That's so
Yeah.
yeah, because like when you have marijuana or mushrooms, it's like it's almost coming from your soul. It comes like from inwards and it kind of just spreads outwards and you kind of get the whole experience. But this came externally from a direction. Like
Yeah,
how does that even work? That's so bizarre. So it came to you like this and then it went
yeah,
through you?
yeah. It went through me, and it just took me and just swapped me in this screen, and then I was like picture on the screen for some time.
Jesus.
And it also played with the sensation of time like crazy. Just felt for like a short eternity. Like everything was repeating itself over and over again every second. That's what I experienced. And then I thought, oh well, man, now I'm stuck at a picture like forever.
Oh no.
Stuck. Yeah,
Oh no.
it's interesting, and the range of experiences, what is possible with it, is just astonishing. But also,
Oh,
I don't
man.
really recommend that anyone plays with salvia.
Yeah, that sounds like something and only an experienced user would want to partake in. And like it that's for like a specific individual too, right? Like someone like you, for example, who's experienced and who's experimented with all kinds of substances and plants and mushrooms and all that. But for like a normal person, man, that seems too crazy. That
Yeah,
seems like it's outside of their realm of possibilities when it comes to their everyday life. I just want to be able to
yeah,
like eat a mushroom cap or a stem, on a
yeah,
Saturday, and then feel good, right?
yeah, yeah. And it's also dangerous. Many people just experience like uh, PTSD after the experience and
Oh
have to
no.
deal with trauma from this experience because it was just so insane.
Oh
But I
no.
also heard about people just teens doing it for fun because I think it was legal until 2000 and let me lie 9 or 10. It was just because it's something new. It was just discovered a couple of years ago, and just one tribe in the jungle in Mexico, I think, used it. And then, so it's a relatively new substance here in Europe. So it was legal until 2010. Then they just made it illegal. Yeah, but until then, many teens have tried it because it's legal and it's crazy, and let me experience some craziness. Yeah,
Oh man. Yeah, because I've never even heard of it before. Like I
yeah.
haven't even heard anyone using it or my friends talking about it or even like online. I haven't even heard
It's
it
re-
mentioned at all.
it's
Like,
it's relatively unknown. Yeah,
wait, so where does it come from? Mexico?
I think it was Mexico, but I don't know really.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
Because if it comes from somewhere like Mexico, then normally it would just naturally bleed into California and then get into the United States, right? And eventually just become part of the mainstream drug culture that's there, right?
Mhm.
But it's I don't know that's strange. It's like a newer plant that just so is it legal or is it illegal right now?
I think it's mostly illegal. I don't know if it's illegal everywhere in the world, but mostly illegal, I guess. But I don't know.
That's interesting. Because the one good thing that I do enjoy about living in Canada, like we've made all this kind of stuff legal, like marijuana,
Mm,
smoking, and edibles, and alcohol and whatever, and even some things, some drugs that are considered illegal. That like the cops here are very understanding of what's going on, right? And it's like a very progressive way to think when it comes to drugs, because even when back in the day when marijuana was illegal here, right? So you couldn't smoke a blunt, you couldn't have anything on you, right? And
mm,
I found that my experience with the police force here has been like super positive. Like the cops get it. It's just a plant. It's just a plant. It's not going to kill anybody, right? It's not
mm,
like it's not some destructive drug like alcohol, or it's not like a weapon or a poison, or it's none of that. It's just literally a green living thing that comes out of the dirt, right? And for whatever reason, we've claimed as a society to make this thing illegal, and we demonized it to, to the general public that, this is a negative thing that we don't want in our community, right? And it's unfortunate, right? Because a lot of countries in the world still have like this old mindset, like they're kind of like stuck in the ways of drugs are bad, all drugs are bad, and they just categorize everything into this one stupid term of a drug, right? Whereas, especially
out of alcohol or nicotine.
Yeah, right. And it's like, that's so crazy. Whereas someone could be using it as like a medicine, right? And I come from the perspective where alcohol is probably like way worse than like any of these psychedelic drugs. Like, even think about all these, drunk driving incidents, or all these community groups that are created called like Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, right? Because people, they can't handle their alcohol, and they drink and drive, and they kill people. And then you go through a pandemic, and then what has to stay open? What's essential? The beer store is essential. I'm like, really? The beer store is essential? Like, why? Oh, people are going to go through withdrawal, and they're going to overflood the hospitals. I'm like, yeah, so we're all addicted to alcohol. Like, isn't that so much more of a serious drug problem than like a plant or a mushroom? And that kind of stuff drives me crazy. It just drives me so crazy when, and this is not my place to bitch about something like this, because this is outside of like my country, outside of where I live. But I just wish other countries kind of like had that perspective and foresight to see, like, not all substances are the same drug, right? Not all plants or compounds are the same thing. They're completely different and independent of themselves, right? And what was this, the new drug that you're talking about? Zavia. Yeah, even that, right? It seems completely crazy, but like, at the end of the day, if you're an adult and you want to try it, then I feel like you should be able to try it. Because what's stopping you from going to the hardware store and buying a hammer and just like smashing yourself with it? You can do more damage with just to yourself at like a hardware store or something, right? Like, why does the government have to restrict us as adults to choose what we want to do, right? And that's that's my whole problem when it comes to drugs and psychedelics. I'm someone that is extremely supportive of adults being able to make their own decisions, and I just wish there was more places that kind of would support that. And I think this matters a lot to me because the United States is my neighboring country, right? Like, Canada is greatly influenced by the United States. They're almost as if they're our big brother, or they're our older cousin. They protect us, right? And there's still states in the US where marijuana is illegal. Like, that's so crazy. This is 2021, right? I don't know, man. Like, that type of stuff, it just blows my mind, right?
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. It sounds amazing how you're dealing with it in Canada. I don't know the details, but what you've told me in here, it sounds great. And I don't like to complain about it, but it can't get into my mind. I just don't understand why it's the way it is. Like, you can go into the history of it, but it's just so silly that to think about it. Like, I can go out and I'm not allowed to pick up that mushroom and eat it. Like, these mushrooms are growing here, just right in front of my house. And I'm not allowed to pick that mushroom, but I am allowed to pick that one and eat it. That one can kill me, that one makes me happy, and that one makes me hallucinating. And why can people decide what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do? So that is kind of weird. I can't really understand it, but I don't. It doesn't bother me that much because I just go my own way. Like, I'm still doing it. I don't know if I can get in trouble saying it out loud, because some people are worried, like, oh, you can't talk about this stuff openly on YouTube or on the internet because then they're gonna catch you and lock you in prison or something like that. But I really don't care, because I just trust that everything will be alright the way it is. And I really can, because I know for myself that it's the right thing to do, and to talk about this stuff, and to spread out the word to the world.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that kind of makes me sad is the people that impose this regulation on society. I bet you any money they've never had a mushroom trip in their life, right? And these are the people that have decided that psychedelics are illegal and alcohol is legal, or this is legal and this isn't, where they probably never experienced like psilocybin ever, right? Like they've never even tried these things, but they are the ones who are making the decisions for our regulation because they're in politics, right? Because they're in a position of power. And like I know it's like an argument that you can never win, because it feels like you're just climbing uphill, and the battle is insurmountable because it's a government, right? And the government is so large, and government has taken over in like so many parts of, you know, your country, where they do mean well, right? But when it comes to like the regulation of substances, like taking mushrooms for example, like I will take some, and it just makes me happier. I feel better. I'm more productive. I write better. I'm more creative. And it's just like there are all these positive things. Am I losing my mind and going outside and fighting someone? No, right? Like, am I causing harm to anyone else? No. Like, am I doing anything crazy? No. So then why, as an adult, am I restricted from taking that avenue of happiness, right? Or exploring that avenue of creativity, when the benefits have been amazing. They've been amazing. And I've come from a place where, you know, I'm a super healthy guy. You know, I'm into fitness. I'm into eating healthy. I don't smoke. I hardly ever. So I'm like all in when it comes to health and fitness, right? So you would think that I'm someone that is completely against anything, you know, like alcohol or drugs or whatever. But I thought, like, I've never experienced any of these things, right? So my opinion doesn't matter, because it's coming from a position where I don't have any knowledge on the subject, right? So I'm okay. So let's try mushrooms. Like, what is everyone ranting and raving about it, right? So I tried some, and I was like, there's nothing bad here at all. It's just all good times. It's making me happier, right? It's like it doesn't even taste bad. Like there's I can't even think of anything that's bad aside from, like, it's expensive. So that's probably the only negative. It's expensive if you have to buy it. But I think in Canada we have some weird laws. I think you can buy the seeds, or not the seeds, or the spores legally, or something. Yeah, the spores, right? I think legally you can buy the spores. I don't know. That's outside of my knowledge as well, right? But man, like anything when it comes to even just like YouTube or content creation, it has helped me so much. Like the way I think about things, it's like before I would look at a subject and, like, say this cup of water, right? And it would be like right in front of me and I'm just looking at the cup of water. But then, like, when you take mushrooms, you hit that subject from all different angles that you never thought were possible before. It just opens up these avenues in your mind that if you never tried it, then you never know that it's even there, right? And that's why I'm just like, man, I love the 500 milligram to 1 gram dose. It's perfect because I can still be a responsible adult, right? Like when my daughter wakes up, I can go and take care of her. I can go have, breakfast with her. If I have to clean the house, I'm perfectly fine. And there's nothing wrong with me. But I gain all the mental and creative benefits when it comes to my writing, right? And that is, man, I just love it. I just love it so much. And this is not coming from a place where I've become a junkie or anything. I've done mushrooms maybe 5 times in my entire life. And every single time I had a positive experience. And this is dosages ranging from 500 milligrams all the way up to 2.5 grams. I think like that's, I'm like I said before, I'm pretty weak when it comes to the dosages, but I don't know about you, but I've had all positive experiences.
Definitely. I totally agree. And also, I don't know where to begin. They can be used to cure addiction. Like there are studies out there with LSD or with mushrooms that they used this tool to cure alcohol addiction or other addictions from other people, or like even hardcore addictions can be cured through an ayahuasca ceremony or through an iboga ceremony. And there are amazing health benefits from these substances. And I also don't know why they're illegal or what the government has done, or because we are part of the government, and I like to focus on what I can do, like right now, to bring people to more open-mindedness about these topics, to educate them about these topics, to speak about my positive experiences and my negative experiences or difficult experiences with these substances, to just crack their minds open a little bit, that they can be open-minded enough because they've been indoctrinated or whatever with the mindset of a culture that has just been this way for a couple of years now. But just to plant that seed of a new idea, of a new perspective in their minds, that they can be open-minded enough to explore these topics for themselves. Because as we've said, these experiences are experiences. We can't really talk about them because the English language or any language really doesn't fit the experience. It's like describing an orgasm or describing having sex. It's a different thing to talk about it than the actual experience itself. Yeah, and so I think what I like to do is just to focus on my part of what I can do, what I can bring back to this world from my positive experiences, and just to live it, like to not to complain about it or to judge anyone who criticizes it, but just to integrate the insights in my own life and then just to live them. And then people can come to me and ask me, oh, why are you so happy with your life? Why are you so peaceful? Why are you so successful? Because, and then I can tell them, okay, this was a big part of it. And then they're like, oh, this was a big part of it. Psychedelics were a big part of your journey. Okay. I always thought they were bad, or they would make me crazy. And then we can talk about it and explain it. And so I like to just focus on my vision and what I can give back to the world.
Yeah, that's an amazing message to have, because like even just like you said, right, people have this preconceived notion that psychedelics equals a drug, which equals bad, right? For whatever reason, this is just ingrained in people's minds, right? And I like how you want to kind of like share your knowledge and your experiences with psychedelics, you know, to better the world, because I think that's our whole purpose here, right? Is can we leave the world a better place than when we got here, right? And this is also like what I'm focusing on, the best that I can. You know, are we able to affect everything? No, right? Are we able to change everything in one day? No, but can we use conversation to run a narrative that can somehow improve someone else's life down the lines? Then yeah, sure, we can. Maybe we can open up avenues, and if more people are more aware about things like medicines or psychedelics or plants or whatever, name the thing, right? That if that can help someone, like if it can help someone down the line, then I'm good. That's all I care about. Is it helping someone, and is it not hurting someone else? If we can have those things, if that can occur, then I'm perfectly fine, right? And and I know alcohol gets like such a bad rap, and I'm always bringing it up, but there are these weird drugs in our society, like caffeine, for example, right? Like we are addicted to caffeine all over the world, and that's a drug. And like if I don't have my coffee in the morning, I have like these horrible migraines and headaches, and then I can't even be productive. I can't work. I probably can't even drive properly, right? And I have like these terrible caffeine addiction problems if I don't have my coffee by 8 a.m. in the morning. I think if I go past 8 a.m., then I start getting like the horrible migraines, right, and headaches. And for whatever reason, this is just accepted. It's, oh yeah, it's just coffee. We've always drank coffee. Yeah, coffee helps you be productive. Yeah, coffee makes you, helps you wake you up, and yeah, it's good. Okay, but like, you have a mushroom, you feel good, you feel more creative, you can be more productive. It's like the same thing. It's the same thing, pretty much, right? Exactly. But for whatever reason, it hasn't made its way into the narrative of it being accepted by humanity, right? And I don't know. It's it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to talk about, because when you talk to, or when I talk to regular people, I want to say regular people in a negative way. I mean, like, when I talk to other adults in like the 9 to 5 corporate America workforce, right? Like, say they're average, whatever, Canadian, German, American, whatever, right? It's very hard to bring up the subject of psychedelics and medicine, because they think you're crazy. The very first thing they think, oh, this is a crazy person. I don't want to talk to this guy. And I'm just like, have you tried it? Have you tried it? No? Okay, so you know nothing about it. So why do you have this preconceived notion and preconceived idea on a subject that you know nothing about, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like as if you had no background in, being a medical practitioner, but you want to like have this, you want to tell a surgeon how to do his job, or you have this preconceived idea of what, a doctor should be. But like, if you don't have any experience on the subject, right? Like, why do we have this mentality that it automatically defaults to being something that is bad? And that is, for whatever reason, it's everywhere almost, or I feel like it's everywhere. Or maybe this is just a perspective coming from North America. I don't know how like the culture is in Germany, but over here it's generally always seen as like a negative thing before it's even like considered a positive. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it depends. Also here in Germany, it's most people have this idea that it's bad, but I don't really care about it, because I can speak openly with everyone about it if the topic is brought up. And also I like to surround myself with people who just share this similar open-mindedness about these things. I've just started to get into these circles of people who are open-minded about it last year. So that is kind of amazing to have these connections. Also here in Germany, I think they're all around the world. Yeah, but as you said, people in the regular 9 to 5 job circumstance, or just I don't want to judge anyone, but just, as you said, regular people, a lot of people, just the majority is just not so open-minded about these things, and I don't know why, but it doesn't matter to me, because I can just still talk to them about it. Just bring that topic up in a talk, like, have you heard about rapé, like the shamanic snuff? You can.
What is that?
It's that is rapé.
Rapé?
It's rapé, yeah, or hape, or rapé. You can fill it up. It's mapacho tabak.
I have no idea what you're saying.
It's also nicotine, but you can like blow it in your nose like this.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, it has 2 sticks. One prong goes up your nose and
Yeah.
the other one goes in your mouth.
Mhm.
What on earth is that contraption?
So you can blow it in your own nose. So
Oh man.
I like to work with rapé a lot in the last couple of days. And you can also I also have this thing. Wait a second.
Yeah, man. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Like kuripe. So you can blow it in someone else's nose.
No way. You blow that into someone else's nose. Bro.
Or you get it in your nose.
Is that how you get COVID? Is that how we're getting COVID?
I've had a lot of rapés the last year and I haven't had COVID yet.
Oh, holy shit. That looks like a device for COVID. Oh my god.
So, but it's not a psychedelic, but it's a consciousness altering substance in a way. So when I talk to people, I like to just introduce the topic of psychedelics in combination with mental health or with meditation or with anything. So when somebody asks me, "Do you smoke cigarettes?" then I say, "No, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I use nicotine in the way of rapé, and that gives me a meditative experience, and so I can just introduce it. And rapé is also used in ayahuasca ceremonies. Oh, what's ayahuasca? Oh, ayahuasca is this and that, and my experience with it is like this, and I've had a lot of great benefits about it." And so had never had really the problem of talking about psychedelics to people, because I can just share everything so openly. Well, back then in school, it was kind of a difficult topic.
For sure.
For some teachers. But there were a lot of talks with me and my parents because of my use of weed. But it's everything went fine with it, because my lifestyle just shows the benefits of it. Like, as long as I'm healthy and alive and I can work out and I can go to work, or I can work on my vision, and that is felt by the other person, that it's benefiting me, that I'm aware that I can use these things responsively as a catalyst for growth, then I've never encountered really a real problem or discussion about the topic of psychedelics.
Wow, that's amazing. And even like the I know you mentioned like the nicotine in cigarettes. I'm pretty much progressive and open-minded to anything in the world except for one thing, and that's cigarettes. I am extremely close-minded, and when like I've drawn a line in the sand when it comes to cigarettes, and I have such a strong belief against them that I don't think I'm ever going to change, because when you think about cigarettes, right? This is a thing. This is essentially a stick that people are lighting on fire, and you're absorbing chemicals into your lungs, right? And of course, you get the nicotine, you get that little buzz, right? But you're killing yourself, and it's so expensive. And then not only is it harmful to your body, you have that little piece that's left over, the filter or whatever, and everyone just throws it on the ground and then stamps on it and like steps on it with their foot, and now you're littering. Like that is the craziest thing in the world to me. And I'm someone that's like there's not much in this world where I can say I'm firmly 100% against, but that is a thing. Like there is so much negatives when it comes to cigarettes, like your health. like it's bad for the environment, the smell, the smoke. Or even like you go to the dentist, they always ask you, did you smoke, right? Because it's bad for your teeth and your tongue and your oral health. And then it costs so much money, and then there's people dying of like lung cancer, and that puts stress on the healthcare system. I'm just like, man, like I get it. Like I get it, like having that coffee in one hand and that cigarette in the other hand, and you're stressed from work and you need that smoke break. I get it. Like, I get it. But holy shit, when we're talking about the positive and negatives of something, that has got to be the craziest thing in the world. Like even now in 2021, if I don't know if you're a smoker or whatever. I think you said no, but like whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But if you are a smoker and like you're willingly paying money to kill yourself and pollute the world at the same time just for the nicotine buzz, like that is one thing. Like, man, there's the negatives outweigh the positives like a million times over. Like that is something I will take to my grave, that I will, I'll stand like that is some bullshit, man. Like we got to get rid of, like that's the craziest thing in the whole world, I think. And we're scared. Definitely. We're scared about some mushroom that grows out of the dirt. We're scared about that. But like, oh yeah, we can just smoke cigarettes and throw our garbage and shit everywhere. Like, oh man, that drives me crazy. And I know like this contradicts my beliefs when it comes to, I feel like adults should do whatever they want to be able to do, right? Like no one should be able to tell you what to do, right? Like, so this kind of contradicts my belief, but I feel like the negatives of cigarettes, they just, in terms of the overall influence of society and on health and just like how bad they are, like I feel like there's nothing good there, right? Like at least like a beer, you have a beer, you drink your beer, you recycle the bottle, right? And you're not like, oh, I finished the beer and I'm just gonna throw the bottle on the ground and step on it, and then you leave glass everywhere. You know what I mean? Like we don't do that, but for whatever reason, you can do that. Some people do it. You know what I mean? Like what? Oh yeah, some people that are like that can't control their liquor do that, right? But I am someone that supports like the earth, right? And I am strongly against littering, right? And you are littering a piece of paper that's filled with chemicals, and it was just on fire, and that just gets thrown onto the ground like it's nothing. And there could be 1,000 people around you watching that one guy just throw a cigarette on the ground and step on it, and no one bats an eye. No one cares. But no one cares that he literally just littered. He just littered like a piece of paper that's on fire, a chemical stick that's on fire, and just threw it on the ground. And for whatever reason, we have determined that this is okay in society, right? And this is, and that's what drives me nuts, man. Stuff like that, it just like, it really gets under my skin, because you're going after people that eat like a mushroom or have marijuana that grows naturally from like a plant. It's like a plant, it grows out of the ground. But like this whole cigarette thing is okay. It's the cigarette industry, it's been around forever, and it saddens me, man. It really saddens
me. I feel you. I feel what you mean, definitely. So I don't know if there are some cigarette smokers that are also conscious about the environment. So, and also some people, I've experienced that some people do care that some cigarette smokers, and it annoys a cigarette smoker that another cigarette smoker throws their rubbish on the street. So there are people like that, and there are people like that. So just there are different levels of awareness. But also, yeah, I agree with you. Cigarettes doesn't make sense for me. Why should I smoke a cigarette? Because it's not good for my health. I don't get any real beneficial effects from it. So, and there are better, healthier alternatives, like rapé, like mushrooms, like even weed. There are better alternatives. But I also experienced what it is like to kind of be addicted to nicotine. I've never smoked cigarettes in my life. Not really, but when I got into smoking marijuana, I first I just smoked it pure, just the weed itself. But then after I met a girl, and she was smoking it with cigarettes mixed, like in a joint.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got, just by smoking weed every day, I mixed it with cigarettes. I got into the habit of smoking, and it was kind of, the weed was kind of addictive, but it was definitely, clearly, the nicotine that was really addictive, and that made me smoke, to continue smoking. So now, at the end of my journey of smoking weed every day, like for 2 or 3 years, I just for a couple of months I just cut out the nicotine and just smoked the weed, just smoked the marijuana, and that was much more pure, and it wasn't as addictive. So I didn't have that craving to smoke anymore, because I just cut out the nicotine, and the nicotine is really, I think, the thing that is really addictive. Yeah, weed is kind of addictive. It can be kind of addictive in a psychological sense, but it wasn't a problem for me because I smoked so much. I just decided to take a break from smoking for just 1 year. So at the beginning of 2020, I just stopped smoking for every day. I smoked every day for 2 years, weed. And then I just decided to stop smoking just at the beginning of 2020. And now I haven't smoked a joint or nicotine in 1.5 years almost. So, and without a problem, without an craving to smoke it again. And I want to experience marijuana again this year, later this year, in summer maybe. I don't know when I will experience it again, but with more respect, with more awareness and more intention, like to treat it like a psychedelic experience that I'm not doing every day, but to do it just more consciously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. And it's also like the addictive thing is huge. I know you just mentioned it, but like the thing when you're smoking marijuana, you're just smoking like the plant, right? The problem, again, like I have with like the cigarettes, is like, isn't there chemicals that are added into the cigarette to make it more addictive? See, like there's nefarious like things that go behind the scenes to make the freaking product more addictive, that, you know, like that marijuana and stuff, that it doesn't have, right? Like nothing is added really into marijuana. If you're just, you know, if you have like a blunt, right, you just roll up a blunt, and then are you adding like anything to it? No, you don't. You just roll it up and you light it, and then that's it, right? And I know you made a good point. Like there are cigarette smokers that do care about the environment, and you know, I kind of just went off on a tangent. It was like a harsh generalization to make, but this is how passionate I am about, or how passionate I am against like type of cigarettes, right? But there are people in my life, like family members, and you know, people that I love and people that are close to me, that either they smoke or they still smoke. I'm not entirely sure, but that in of itself doesn't change the way that I feel about them at all. Like it doesn't change my perception or love for them as a family member whatsoever, right? Like none. My huge problem with like the cigarettes is like this acceptance that we have, that it's normal. It's just a normal thing, and it's okay to just litter and just, it's, oh man, that's what you know, that's what kind of gets me really triggered, right? And then it just saddens me to see how marijuana was demonized for so many years, right? So many years, especially here in North America. Like weed is bad, and you know, like you shouldn't do cannabis, and all this stuff is gonna poison you, it's gonna hurt families, it's gonna increase crime rate and gangs, and it's just all this negative information that comes with it. It was terrible, right? And then eventually through, and I think this is my opinion, through like the internet, the ability to spread information just increased at an exponential level. We're like, hey, it's a plant. It's a plant. That's all it is. There's nothing crazy going on. It's just a plant. Let people use it. It's like, oh, okay. And then now here, the whole narrative has changed, right? You have people in Toronto, like where I live, like can walk down the street, smoke a blunt, and no one cares. No one even cares here anymore. But like when I was younger, there was this like huge, this like, oh, that person's like a drug addict. They're bad, right? But now I love the point that we've got to over here where it's just like an accepted thing, and it's kind of reached that status of where cigarettes are. You can see a person across the street smoking a cigarette and think nothing of it. You can see a same person, just down the block smoking a blunt and think nothing of it. And that is perfect, right? Like that is perfect to just let adults be adults and choose what you want to do, right? But I don't know, like if there's a way we can progress like the psychedelic movement to kind of get to that level, to push it towards the mainstream, then I'm more than willing to talk about it. Like I'm not as brave as you to make my channel name the Psychedelic Actually, you know what I mean? Like I'm not that much of a proponent of it, but I do see the benefits and uses of psychedelics, and I just wish, like, I know this is a weird thing to say, but I wish that everyone could be given just like a microdose of psychedelics one day, and maybe 100 milligrams or 200, and just see how much happier people will be, how much calmer, more relaxed, just chilled out. And it would be so nice if we could do something like that, which of course is never going to happen, right? Because the population has reached mass scale and a level where it's it's not controllable. There's freaking 8 billion people or something. But I feel like, man, if there was, it's almost as if there's a secret in the closet that I know about that I wish other people could have, right? Like, oh, there's like this secret thing in my closet called a mushroom, like, and if you just had that, or I just wish if you knew it was there, it would just make you a little bit happier, it would just take off the edge, it would make you a little bit nicer, a little bit more creative. And it's like, it's there for everyone to use as a tool, right? But I'm just it feels like they just don't get the access to that information, or for whatever reason they just don't get to use it. And it's like this thing that's just held in the dark that has endless amount of positive possibilities, right? And with almost zero side effects. And look, I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong because I'm not very educated when it comes to psychedelics. I don't know. Maybe there are some negatives that I don't know about. Sure, I'm completely open to that, right? But from my own personal experience, that is the only place from which I can talk from, right? And I've had literally zero negatives outside of the cost, right? Like that's like, and I thought about this. Like I sat down at my desk and thought, like, okay, it's made me happy, it's increased my writing, all these benefits. Okay, but what are the negatives? Okay, it was like whatever, $100 for how many, like a whole thing. Okay, so $100 I lost. Okay, that's one negative. What's the next? I'm thinking.
And even the investment is not really a negative because the positive sides are just worth it.
Yes, exactly. Like you're getting benefit from that amount of money you spend or whatever, right? And it's just like, man, there's just the positives outweigh the negatives by like a mile. And I just wish other people would kind of just try it. Like, you don't want to say try it because you can't force your ideology onto other people, right? You don't want to be that person that forces things on people, right? But at the same time, like, it's almost as if like a secret that we know about, that secret supplement, that secret thing. Like, if you just you don't need antidepressants, man. You don't need all these like medications to get you out of depression, and like sure, maybe you do, right? But maybe you just need a mushroom, or maybe you just need whatever. It's like something natural just to try it, just to like that could be the answer. Right? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm an idiot. I don't know any background or education on any of these subjects. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, right? But like, what if it could, right? Wouldn't that be amazing?
It's a possibility, but most people aren't willing to try it. I also think we have a long way to go to change this whole culture and society itself. I think we won't experience it in our lifetime that it's just as accepted as nicotine, but we're on a good way. I think the future's bright. Like stuff is happening right now that is moving this culture, this idea forward, and that is studies are happening at different universities. Retreat centers are opening more and more also in the West. Here also in the Netherlands, just right beside Germany, it's accepted that people smoke weed, and it's accepted that people take psychedelic truffles, like mushrooms. I don't know what they're called.
Oh, truffles?
Yeah, truffles. Yeah,
okay,
right. Yeah. So we're going in that direction, and I think we can achieve a lot, even in the next 10, 20, 50 years. We can move this whole thing forward. Yeah, but it's, as you said, it's difficult. It's like that secret
yeah, right? Doesn't it feel like it? Like there's something we have?
Yeah. and also, I've experienced that also. Even if I can talk about people to talk about this thing, and then, hey, I've got this thing, and it has helped me so much. People are still scared to try it. Like even in the milligram range, or 1 gram of mushrooms. Oh no, what can happen? I'm too scared to go into the unknown, to leave my comfort zone. And maybe it's not for everybody. Maybe psychedelics aren't for everybody. But maybe, as you said, maybe a mushroom is exactly what is needed to cure an addiction, or to just cure that depression, or just help that, or give that starter boost of going on a journey of personal development. I don't think psychedelics are the ultimate solution to everything, but a psychedelic experience can definitely inspire someone to work further on their personal development and on their health, and on raising their awareness to improve their lives, to just be more fulfilled. So the work has just begun within psychedelic experience, and we have to go this journey and trust that it's working. Without psychedelics or with psychedelics, it doesn't matter. But at the end, it's all about us and our decisions and what we do with our lives and with every moment that we're experiencing. Do we see the beauty of it, and enjoying it, even the suffering? We can enjoy the suffering and the pain, or are we just not wanting to look at it and suffering that way, and not enjoying life for what it is, not seeing the beauty in it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I you said something important there too. Like, psychedelics might not be for everybody, and I 100% agree with that. I don't think, because look, psychedelics have been a positive on my life, right? Now, does that mean everyone should have it, or that it will always be a positive for everyone else? No, it might not. It could, maybe not, right? But my big thing is, like, I want the ability to choose psychedelics to be an option, like that is accepted. Like that's my that's my whole driving factor. Whereas, like, look, I am of the opinion that, my opinion might change in the future. Maybe I have some more psychedelic experiences and they're bad, or whatever. I don't know, maybe something happens and my perspective changes. Then, I'll change my mind. But until then, the ability to choose, I think, is so important. And if we're talking about like being able to exercise or eat healthy or have healthy relationships or like talk to people, these are all things that make us as human beings feel good and function properly in in a loving manner, and we feel great about ourselves. And can psychedelics add to that? Sure, it could, right? Or maybe it doesn't. But I feel like taking that option away from people is a mistake. Like there needs to be an avenue where if people want to seek out that healing or medicine or option, then they should be able to, and not be afraid of some social backlash or some type of, whatever. It's going to be labeled as a crime, or it's labeled illegal, or the cops are going to come after you. Like that's my biggest gripe when it comes to, when it comes to like the whole psychedelic movement, is people should be able to choose. And if they want to take that avenue and explore and try that thing, then I feel like that they should be able to do that. And it's tough because in my past I felt restricted because there was no avenues to get to mushrooms. Like when I was younger, it was like you gotta know a guy who knows a guy that's in an alleyway. Like it's like it's always some shady arrangement. It's like, oh, are they really mushrooms? Like how do you know? Is there a way you can test it? I don't know. Do they look like it? Like, are they old? Like there's so many crazy variables there that can be more dangerous than that the actual mushroom is, right? Like you don't know this person that grew the mushroom or where it came from or how they got it, right? And that's what it was like back in the day, right? And this is where like I love the progression of marijuana, where there's stores, there's shops, there is the Government of Canada marijuana website where you can order from the government and they deliver with the government's Canada Post mailing service, right? And it's like then it's coming from a place where it's controlled, where it's safe, it's good to use, right? And like I want psychedelics to have that too. I want there to be like, oh, you go around the corner, you have a marijuana shop, you have the beer store, and you have a mushroom store. Like why can't we have that, right? Where okay, this is golden teacher, this is psilocybin, this is amanita muscaria, whatever, right? They're all labeled, they're grown here. Like, why can't we have that? Like, that's what, I wish this was part of our society, right? Because there's someone out there that maybe they need that healing from a mushroom, or maybe they need that experience, but society is blocking them from getting there, right? So in the end, you're kind of hurting that person by not giving them that avenue to achieve that, that medicine or whatever that they want to buy, right? And it's hard, right? Because it's gonna take time, because you can't change people's minds overnight, right? And I just want to reiterate that mushrooms, I don't believe that it's for everyone, right? But I believe it is for everyone who wants to try it, right? And at the end of the day, your choice, and to be able to choose what you want to do and choose what is right without harming others is what should be taken into consideration, right? When it comes to all these type of things. I don't know. That's just my opinion on all that stuff.
Yeah, right, right, definitely. I think it will come around in one form or another to come around in one form or another, just to have the possibility. And we have the possibility. Every one of us has the freedom to choose to go down the path of seeking out a mushroom or getting the ayahuasca ceremony. The limitations are, I think, only in our minds. And even if that decision, you are free to take the decision to go to Peru and drink ayahuasca, or to pick a mushroom right in front of your door and educate yourself about it on the internet and then use it as a tool. But also the consequences may be like you have some arguments or some trouble with some family members, or your you will lose some friends, but also gain some other friends. So the path will unfold individually for everyone. But I think everyone has the freedom to choose. But I know what you mean, like to make the freedom, to make the decision easier and more accessible for everyone, because these limits in our minds are very strong. Like, oh, I have to do something illegal. So 90% of the population don't even think about trying it because it's illegal. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the 10%, 5% don't even think about doing it because they will get in trouble with their family. But the freedom is there. Like, we are free. We are freedom itself. We can choose to do whatever we want to do. But we have to live with the consequences. So we have to stand in our truth and really believe in what we do and take responsibility for our lives and for our choices and for our freedom.
Yeah, exactly. And even like my dream of having like that mushroom shop. Imagine like the impact. And look, I'm very lucky and I'm very fortunate to grow up in a country like Canada where, you know, they believe in a lot of freedoms for, you know, our people, right? And I know it's easy to shit on your government, right? It's oh yeah, the government is freaking the economy's fault for our wages, or the government made the stupid decision. Like, it's easy to point blame at them, right? But in the grand scheme of things, you know, I'm very fortunate, and I realize that I'm very lucky to grow up in a country, you know, where alcohol is an option, or cigarettes are an option, marijuana is an option. And, you know, even though I'm against some of those things, it still makes me happy to know that if you want to get a drink, you can go get a drink. If you want to get a pack of cigarettes, you can get a pack of cigarettes. Like, and that's what's awesome. It's just, I hope that one day it could become, you know, for psychedelics and whatever as well. And even just like, imagine if the government just accepted all substances and drugs, right? Like, this is just like a thought experiment, and they just regulated everything. Imagine the amount of tax revenue they would get. Like, imagine if the government sold alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana, LSD, mushrooms, MDMA, whatever, name the substance. What if they just sold that and just made it like an option? Like, imagine like the amount of good things they could do with that tax revenue. And then maybe you can reinvest some of that money into, you know, like safe injecting facilities. Because look, the people that struggle with drugs are, you know, generally like people that are like homeless or whatever. You know, they live in the streets, they're using like dirty needles, or use like whatever. It's really bad like environments that they're partaking in this drug use, right? Like, what if we could create like safe environments for them, right? And that's kind of been happening here in Canada, where there are like these medical facilities, you know, kind of more accepting of that type of stuff. But like, man, it would be amazing if we could just choose, you know, have that option to choose and do the things that we want to do, right? Like, that would be like, I wouldn't say that's my dream, but I would love to see a society where that's an option, right? Because like, even for me, how do I get mushrooms? I don't know. I have to. I know a guy, a friend. He has. I don't know where the hell he got it from, right? You know what I mean? It's always like a person of a person of a person. You like, there's like this weird connection path to get to something that just comes from the earth. Like why does it have to be 5 segments removed? Why can't it just be like you said, oh, it's on the ground over there, can I just pick it up, take it? Why does it have to go through all these networks and avenues just to get around rules and regulations, right? That's what like is so crazy. And then maybe that's why the price is so high, right? Because there's all this logistical requirements that goes into growing mushrooms, growing it safely, moving it around. Then okay, yeah, you want to buy some, it's like $100. Oh shit, right? Oh damn, that's expensive, right? Like, maybe we could improve that in some way, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, when you look back at our history, right, especially in North America, when it comes to like prohibition, where they made alcohol illegal, when you make things illegal and you don't allow the people to access them, that is what creates the biggest problem, right? So I feel like we should learn from that and do the opposite and make things more accessible to people. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that are against, drug use. They're afraid that it's going to ruin their kids' lives, right? Or it's going to, do harm to the society, or whatever. But what if the answer is decriminalizing all of those things so it's not seen in a negative light anymore? And those people that are like, oh, I want to do that because it's illegal, right? Like, that's going to disappear. That will be gone. And that whole negative stigma surrounding drugs won't be in our society anymore. So maybe it'll create a better environment for everyone overall. So that if you do want to pursue some of these things, there is an avenue where you can do it safely. The substances you're getting are pure, then they're authentic. And, it's controlled by whatever, the government or a store, whoever. Put some regulation in there, right? So people are taking like safe substances, right? And then if they have an option to go to a consumption center or like injection center, there's medically trained people there to help them out, right? Like, I feel like that is the better option than just going like this and being drugs are bad, like, and having that closed-minded opinion, right? And that would be I feel like that would be awesome. But also at the end of the day, like, I am thankful that that where I live, right? And I feel like that doesn't get spoken enough about, right? Especially those of us that come from like first world countries or where it's safe, where we don't have to worry about finding food or electricity or water. Or even, look, we can do this podcast, like you're in Germany, I'm in Canada. We're not worried about, are these lights going to stay on? Are we worried about food and water? These are all luxuries that we take for granted, right? And we can talk about these other things like psychedelics because we're so fortunate to be in these environments, right? And look, I am never going to take that for granted, ever, right? I never want to get to the point where I take that for granted. But at the same time, I am always going to be pushing for people, their ability to choose, right? To be able to choose to do the things that they think are right at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. That's a great thought experiment. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and also the gratitude. The gratitude is amazing. We are fortunate enough to just be comfortable. We have enough food. We have electricity. We can talk about these things, and we can, just push these ideas forward and be active about this thing, so that we can take part of being a part of changing culture, changing society. So that's amazing, and we can be really, 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 really grateful for that. That's also one thing psychedelics showed me, the gratitude. Wow, amazing. Gratitude for my family, gratitude for just being alive, just the possibility that we're alive, that we can, we should never even take that for granted, that we can experience this amazing thing called life. So that is really amazing. And we can do stuff and decide where we put our attention and where we put our energy, and where we can, help to heal the world or to better the world. How's your trip going?
It was good. My heart was getting a little elevated on a couple of subjects that we reached on, but that I was feeling the full body high, and I was getting a little bit of the crazy visuals, mostly aided because of that background behind you. Like you see the colors of those are tree branches, right? The purple is like the inner part, and then the end is like the yellow. And for me, it looked like those leaves turned into hearts, and they were like almost on fire for a little bit. And I was like, oh man, here we go. It's like 2 grams. Like, see, around 2 grams is nice, because like, look, I can fully have a conversation with you. Holy shit, it's almost 2 hours now. Dang. Like I have been, or at least I hope I've been able to communicate properly. Like I'm not like some crazy drunk that's like obliterated
Definitely.
out of his mind, just like passed out. Like I can function. I'm having
Yeah.
thoughts, right? I'm having these ideas come, and I'm a functioning human being under the influence of 2 grams of mushrooms, right? And I feel great. Like, and it's it's something that I think that dosage range is perfect for me. Now, for you, that's probably like nothing, right? Like the 1 gram to two
No, it's
gram.
not nothing. It's not
No.
nothing. I had an intense experience last week on 2 grams of
Oh, you did
mushrooms. So
on 2 grams?
yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm
It's
not
still
alone.
amazing. No, it's still amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's coming down now. It's your background is all back to normal. And I'm feeling not as elevated and less passionate about some certain things. But yeah, it's nice, man. It's a good thing to do. And like I said, I've only done it what 5 times,
Mm,
and
no.
am I addicted to it at all? Nope. I do I have to do it tomorrow? Nope. Do I have to do it next week? No. How about a month? A year? Just do it whenever. It's just like it's there's no addiction at all. Like
Yeah.
the feeling is nice, and maybe this is why I was talking so much about like, choice and bettering the world. But like when you have mushrooms, you get that gratitude, like you said, right? And you it's almost as if you have all this bullshit locked inside of you, and the mushrooms are keys to unlock all of those locks, and all that stuff just comes out, right? And then you realize the car doesn't matter, what phone you have, who gives a shit, the name brand clothing, all those material possessions, they mean nothing. At the end of the day, who cares about that stuff, right? Like when you die, are people going to talk about your Rolls Royce or that super boat that you have? No, they don't care about that stuff, right? And it's like the mushrooms lets you know what is truly valuable to you, and it lets you know what has real meaning, right? And it's like like how do you feel about yourself? Are you grateful from the perspective of where you grew up? Are you grateful for your surroundings? Are you grateful for the people around you? And it's like, yeah, I am, right? I'm so grateful to be in this position where I'm at right now, where I don't have to, like I said, worry about food and water and shelter. We can do things like this, right? And I feel like people lose that perspective, and they just get caught up in the momentum of life. And look, nowadays life is crazy, right? Like everyone's got to work, everyone's got to hustle, everyone needs a side hobby, a grind. Like there's always something going on, right? And like I get it, this whole hustle culture thing, it's expensive, and I totally understand that. But at the same time, like there needs to be time where you can take a step back and have some self-reflection and have some gratitude for what you have, right? Because there's a lot of people in this world who aren't as fortunate or aren't as lucky to have, things that are necessary for life, right? And
Right.
it makes me realize, like, holy shit, man, like I'm so grateful for what I have right now, and it fills me with happiness, right? And then it kind of fuels me. I want to be able to share that happiness with other people because I want them to feel that same feeling too, right? And
Right.
I don't know. It's just a great whole experience and feeling to have, and you know
Yeah.
exactly what it's like, right?
Exactly. They are great reminders just to remind oneself of all these things. And
Mm-hmm.
it's refreshing, like to go back to it every once in a while. Like you said, it's not really addictive, but it's an active reminder to remind oneself of this gratitude and to self-reflect a little bit, to take time to remind oneself, because you can remind yourself of this gratitude without psychedelics, but with psychedelics it's more heartfelt, like you experience it and it stays. At least for me, it really stays. So when I can remember now just a psychedelic experience of mine, I can get more into the intensity of the feeling of the gratitude. and remember that. And that can happen without a psychedelic, and then I can just cry in gratitude, or just be happy or fulfilled or at peace in this moment. So that is really beautiful. And what an honor to be part of your 5th mushroom journey. It's really an honor.
I had to, man. Like what perfect timing. It was like meant to be. I looked at my like little stash, and I had 1 capsule left. So the capsule is 500 milligrams, and then I had 3 stems and 3 caps, but they're small, like smaller ones, right? So, usually 3 stems and 3 caps is pretty significant. But I think it was somewhere in the 1.75 to 2 grams, and it definitely felt like that too. It felt more like 2, because man, like 30 minutes into the podcast, I was struggling. I was like, oh man, am I gonna make it through this? I was like, this guy's background is tripping me out. I'm just like, oh,
you did a great job.
On.
You did a really great job.
I was just trying to hold on the best I could, and like it was great. And look, like 2 hours. We did 2 hours, and it was awesome.
Just in the flow. Yeah. Amazing.
Well, thanks for doing the podcast, bro. I'm really happy that we got to talk and have this discussion, and we definitely need to do this again sometime in the future.
Yeah, sure. It was a pleasure.
Let's plug all your social stuff. Where can people find your work?
Yeah, so my main channel right now is Psychedelic Actualization on YouTube. I will post a video every Friday. And also you can find me on Instagram with the name Psychedelic Actualization. And I also have a Facebook group. It's just getting started. We're just coming together, and great things are coming there. The Facebook group is also called Psychedelic Actualization. And for anybody who can understand German, you can check out my German YouTube channels, Outdoor and Spirit. It's Takami and Takami Galaxy. It's spelled Takkami. Takami. So, right. Yeah, right.
There you go.
So that are all my channels where you can find me or get into contact with me. I would really enjoy to connect with a lot more people out there who are interested in these kinds of topics. And I really enjoyed this conversation. It was amazing to talk to you.
Yeah, it was good.
Really.
And I'll leave, for anyone listening or watching, I'll leave links to all of Vergo stuff in the description and all that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That was an awesome podcast. Thanks everyone for watching, and see you next time. And thanks, bro. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching until the end. Whoa, who watched until the end? Write it down in the comment section below.
Let us know who made it all the way this far.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Peace.